Wasn't that nice? Anyway. Hello everybody, this is Orphan75 here. I don't feel like doing a proper intro today because I'm pretty fucking tired and I'm probably going to go to sleep right after this. But I just felt like making a little video. So if you guys remember way far back, I made a video talking about why I think Bloodborne is better than Dark Souls 3 in terms of bosses, uniqueness, and just areas in general. So I'm going to be doing something like that today, but instead I'm going to be talking about all the Fromsoftware games that I've played, which are only 3. This, Bloodborne, and Dark Souls 3. I've already covered Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3, so I won't go too deep into it, since I've already done a full-fledged video of it. But, and I'll definitely make another one. I would actually honestly like to play games and then just comment how I feel about them, because it just makes me feel like you guys would like to understand my opinion, because I know some YouTubers that are more popular give off their opinions on games, and I just feel like I should be that as well. Now granted, I'm not as popular as most YouTubers, but it just makes me feel human to just not only just play the game, but also discuss the game with you. But the only reason I'm doing this with all my Fromsoftware games is because they're all Fromsoftware games. If it comes from a series, say I play Spider-Man and then I play Spider-Man Miles Morales, I'm going to compare both of them to each other and what I think one is better and one it isn't. So that's what really I'm going to be doing. Mostly, unless it's just a single game like God of War, like one of the God of Wars or some shit. But enough of that. So personally, when it comes to Bloodborne and Dark Souls, I think Bloodborne is better. Don't really need to explain why. I'll put the link to the video of the Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3 video. I'll put the link in the description, because you should obviously watch this one before this one, so that way you understand everything between the Dark Souls 3 and the Bloodborne thing. It's just, I'm going to say it pure and simple that I like Bloodborne more. If you guys want to know why, I'm just going to have it in the description. But anyway, I'm going to be putting in a bit more opinions with Sekiro. I think I mentioned it like once or twice in my video with Bloodborne and Dark Souls, but I haven't really discussed it thoroughly. So this, I'm going to be just adding it onto that until I play Demon Souls, and then I'll add that to that, you know. But, personally, after playing this game for a really, really long time, I personally think Sekiro is so far the best Fromsoftware game that has come out. Now, I'm not talking about Demon Souls because I haven't touched that, so leave the new remake of Demon Souls out of this. But technically it's a remake, so I don't really count it as like a new Fromsoftware because it's just a remake. But it's improved, so improvement means better in some way. So I'm not going to count that. But anyway, out of all the games I played, Sekiro is hands down the best one. First of all, it's based within my favorite culture, Japanese culture. Egyptian is also my favorite, but personally I do like Japanese as well. But it's based in Japanese culture. And another thing is the bosses are so well made. Not even in design, because some of their designs are pretty bland and some bosses are reused. But like, I mean well made as in not only looking good or decent at best, but just feel so satisfying to fight against. And I've mentioned in Bloodborne that it's really, you get a really good feeling that when you beat a boss, but like in Sekiro, you feel like that feeling on steroids and like 10 times better. Because like it's so satisfying just watching the animation and you just do these cool flips as you finish off the boss that you were struggling so hard on. I will also be doing a tier list of bosses as well. Of course, I'm going to be doing them in their individual game. I'm going to be doing it basically like this. But instead, when I rank the Dark Souls characters and bosses, I'll be in Dark Souls. When I do the Bloodborne, I'll be in Bloodborne. You get the idea. It's just I don't really have like a proper recording setting right now. So I'm just going to be using the PlayStation for this. I apologize for that. But, it has some of the best bosses and some of the most aggravating bosses. And people say that this game is hard. Very hard. I could see how it can be hard to some people, but for me, it was a lot easier than I intended it. I've killed every single boss my first playthrough, like, first few tries. Genichiro, my first playthrough, the second time you encounter him, took me a while. Took me a really long time. Took me the longest, honestly. After that, the bosses just became easier and easier. Ishin came along and blew that out of the way, and then after I beat him, I basically mastered the game. And, one thing that I really... Oh, boy. Sorry. That I really like is the Shura ending, because it's two bosses that have completely different attacks, but Ishin is not just the same Ishin. Like, yeah, he has the same moveset, but he always has, like, one or two things that can catch you off guard. Not necessarily unfair, or something that you would just say that's bullshit, but it's just something to keep you on your feet. Because when people do the Shura ending, they usually do the first two, so they usually expect it to be the same. So that's why they put in those extra mechanics, because they usually expect them to either get one or both of those endings, the Purification and the Immortal Severance. Or even, dare I say, the secret ending. And people usually go for the Shura ending after playing or getting all of those endings. And, I just really like Ishin in that, because he's basically Ishin, but like he just blows your mind of how many new shticks he's got that makes him a different boss. I love that version of Ishin. He's honestly my favorite. Hands down, he's my favorite boss. Now, I actually just fought Demon of Hatred, and people declare him to be the hardest boss in the game. I usually used a bitch tactic and ran away, got up close, killed him, did damage, stuff like that. It was kind of like a bitchy thing to do. But, then I ended up fighting him completely, like normally, like how you would normally fight regular bosses, and he turned out to be way less harder than I thought he would be, which is kind of shocking. Because a lot of people say that that boss is like the hardest thing ever. Here, I'll even show you. Reflection of Strength, Demon of Hatred. Okay. I will fight the Demon of Hatred full on without any use of anything. Well, I'm gonna use shit, obviously, but like I'm just gonna fight him head on like most people wouldn't normally do. So first let me get set up for him. Where is it? Is it up? Yeah. Alright, let's do this. already on second phase. Didn't take as long. Have 10 gourds left. Basically have all my healing items. Didn't use a single one. Backs up. Does the fire wave thing. Normally he does. Yeah, that. Get in. Some hits. Because some things that people don't understand is that big enemy means bad. But in this game, like, the big enemies you can treat like people. You can just fight them like as if they're just a normal human being. Now sure, they may have like maybe one or two attacks that might make you nervous, which is completely understandable. Because, like that first time I saw that fireball move, I pretty much freaked out. I didn't really know what to do. And see, if you block that, that gets him staggered for a minute. Like, if you actually just experiment with the boss, you can actually figure out some stuff that can really help you in this fight. It's honestly amazing. Get over here, you bitch. That is the one problem that I have with it. You just jump all over the place. It's like Guardian Ape. Does the thing, jump, tag him, block, oh, see that hit me, I ain't bitching, I ain't backing down. Probably equip the whistle for third phase. Now, of course, the whistle is a pretty good helper. You can use it, you don't have to, but I like to use it. It just helps. Personally, I probably could beat him without it, honestly, if I'm being completely honest. And just like that, second phase is done. On to third phase. Something that a lot of people also don't know is you can actually get out of the ring of fire that he makes. So if you make him do it, and then just start running out, you might get hit, but you can escape it before it even forinates, and then you can fight him normally. That move right there is a bit difficult for me to block, but it's not impossible. Just have a hard time getting the timing for that. Other than that, it's fine. Normally I run away from that because it's just easy for me. Personally, I honestly think you can block it, because this game gives you a lot of attacks that you think you can't block, and then you try it and you can't. So you more likely can't block that, if I'm being completely honest. Oh yeah, I forgot to do the thing. Ooh, new attack string. Haven't seen that before. Interesting. Ah, you hit me. Keep making a little bit too many mistakes. I keep getting too greedy. Is the word. Basically, that's full. Come back. So technically, it's not even a ring of fire at all. Or the second one isn't. It isn't fire. Why do I keep getting the timing for that wrong? keep getting the timing for the third one of that wrong, and for the slam that he does. I always get the timing of those wrong. See? Even you can learn a few things when just experimenting with a boss. You're supposed to block the second hit, because it didn't show the, what's the word? The danger sign. Technically it wasn't something that should be avoided, it was something that you could just block. Why do I keep fucking that up? You could just use this to just get a bit of damage on him. Just like that, he's dead. Again, took a bit longer than I thought it would, but it's the very sheer fact that people overestimate some of these bosses that just amazes me. Like some of the bosses that I would do the same exact shit, fought them like how I would like Genichiro or Ishin, and I beat them 10 times easier. Now sure, I did use a lot of my healing stuff, but not only is it a lot shorter if I do that, but it's also a lot more rewarding. I remember when I did the running glitch, I would do the glitch where you would jump up on this tower that shows up here and then jumping over there and letting him kill himself. And now I just find him like that. It's that simple. People fucking bitch and complain about how fucking hard this boss is when they don't try playing Sekiro like Sekiro. If they play the game like how it's intended, it can reveal terrifying results. Like half of the attacks that I thought with Ishin you couldn't block, you had to avoid, ended up being blockable. Isn't that something? And in fact helped me kill him 10 times faster than most of the YouTubers I watched. It's honestly amazing. It's really weird, which basically means if it doesn't show a danger symbol, try and block it. I guarantee you'll get pretty terrifying results from it. Now, if it doesn't work, maybe you just timed it wrong. Maybe you just didn't click it at the right time. Maybe you clicked it a bit too late. Maybe you clicked it a bit too early. Just keep trying until you actually know for a fact that it can be deflected. Then get the timing down. Done. You just learned a brand new exposure. Like with that little high five that he does, that staggers him for a bit. So you can get like 1 or 2 hits in at least. It's honestly really ridiculous how fucking bitch baby some people are with this game. People think that this game is hard, which it can be for certain players. I can understand that. This is their first Fromsoftware game. Yeah, it can probably be pretty difficult. But if you're an experienced player or a player that has played Bloodborne or Dark Souls, don't even start with the whole Dark Souls veteran, Bloodborne veteran shit. I did it once and I felt like a fucking idiot after I mastered this game. This game is not Bloodborne and this game is not Dark Souls. I just hate it. I hate when people compare it. But, it's just the dumbest shit people have ever done on this planet. And if you think that I'm just being a bit salty, or that, like, I'm just being a whiner, then I want you to try and get the game and play it how they played it, and see how long it takes you to beat the game. And then play it how I play it, and we'll see which one is faster. But honestly, it's one of the biggest pet peeves that I have with the community that plays this. As soon as a Fromsoftware game comes out, they just immediately think it's going to be something like Dark Souls, or something like Bloodborne. And honestly, I was like that, but when I finished this game, I felt like an idiot, because not every Fromsoftware game is going to be something like Bloodborne or Dark Souls. Every single Fromsoftware game is attracted to something. Dark Souls, blocking. Bloodborne, dodging. Sekiro, deflecting. Or parrying if you're a weirdo. Now, there are some people that break the game, like doing a few glitches and shit. I honestly don't care. But if they have the skill to back it up, I could care even less. It's a first-person game, or a one-player game, so it's not like people are going to care how you beat the game or what you do. But it's just amazing how many people think that this boss is hard, because if it's a Fromsoftware game, they immediately think big means deadly, which can be some cases in certain circumstances. But with Sekiro, you don't want to treat a big boss like a big boss. You want to treat a big boss like every other boss. If you treat them like every other boss, you won't have anger, you will more likely have satisfaction and learning experiences and fun while doing it. Because I had a lot more fun fighting Demon of Hatred the way I just did, rather than just running around, waiting for him to be vulnerable, striking, running away like a little bitch. I remember doing that. I felt like an idiot now, and I still think I probably am. And if you don't believe me, I'll even fight the Guardian Ape. I'll fight him the exact same way that I did the Demon of Hatred, using my own tactics and things that I usually like to use. So let me get Gotcha Sugar, or Spirit Fall, because I'm not fighting the Demon of Hatred. Guardian Ape. A lot of people think that this boss was hard, and turns out that it's also wrong. If you literally just take time to practice your parrying, you can really get really good results. Not only results in your experience, but your results with their moveset. It's honestly amazing how well made this game is, and people just fail to see that because of what Dark Souls and Bloodborne does to them. Not worrying about posture because his health is too high, so he just regen immediately. I'm worrying about health. times the entire fight. Took way faster than it normally did. Now for the second part, which is even more easier when you have the spear with you. Wake up, come on. And the boss is dead in like, what, 30 seconds? That took way quicker than Demon of Hatred, but that's only because it only has 2 phases, technically. And we have pretty easy attacks to deflect. I still need to practice with Demon of Hatred, but eventually I'll get better. But what was I gonna say? Oh, right. So there are probably gonna be some people that are gonna think that I just play this game a lot and that's why I'm so good at it. We'll see. The truth is, this game has a lot of time. Well, if you have a pretty decent amount of time on your hands, you can eventually just learn how to do that in like a couple of minutes of playing the game. Like, I understand that people are like skeptical about Fromsoftware games, and that there's always going to be nooks and crannies, and there's going to be like super difficult and shit. But like with Sekiro, it's made in a way that it expects you to play like a shinobi, and not play like a Dark Souls or a Bloodborne player. It expects you to play like a warrior, which means experimenting and making choices that legit might be crazy, but could actually help you in a way. And it's not like people will think you're trash if you die in this game. I mean, it's a one-player game, and yeah, the game can be difficult for some people. I can see that. And you may point out that, like, maybe the people that do that are the people that struggle with the game. Well, true. But half the people that done that, that were struggling, quote-unquote, all claim to be at least Dark Souls and Bloodborne veterans, which I was a Bloodborne veteran when I played this game. And I did pretty well my first try. And you want to know how? Like, you want to know my real secret on how I managed to figure that out? Well, I'm going to tell you. I didn't treat the game like Dark Souls. I went into this game expecting it to be a completely different game. Now, you may recall that I have done that. That I said that I did do it for a while. And I did. And that was up until I got my arm cut off in my first playthrough. When I realized that that's not the case, I immediately caught on, said, hey, this game isn't even Bloodborne, so why the fuck am I treating it that way? So I started practicing with the dummy character, and started getting better, learning, put those skills to use, and eventually I started getting going. I did struggle with a few of the bosses because I didn't understand exactly how the mechanics worked at the time. And it took me a while. Yeah. And then eventually, after time and efforts, I mastered their moveset, their timings. Like, people think this game is really hard. People think Bloodborne is hard. People think Dark Souls is hard. Now, personally, I don't think Dark Souls is hard. I think it's aggravating because, specifically in the Ring DLC. In the Ring DLC, I got one shot. And I understand that bosses are supposed to be intimidating, and they're supposed to be fucking, what is the word? Imposing, and they're supposed to test your skill. What skill is there to be tested if you can't survive more than one hit to do it? Like, that's not a boss. Now, I understand that it might be a bit easier to do it on, like, say, like, the first playthrough. Let's say that. But even then, I did it on playthrough, what, like 2? I did it on, like, my second playthrough. 3rd, 4th. And I played through the Hunter's DLC, which is basically like Dark Souls 3, but better. And there was not that much damage happening. It's really weird. I just don't understand it. Now, there might be a mechanic of Dark Souls that I just haven't figured out yet, because then again, I rarely know anything about Dark Souls. Hell, I haven't even platinumed the game, but I could, and then just be done with it as a whole. But, people just look at a Fromsoftware game and expect it to be the most aggravating thing ever. But with Sekiro, solutions are thrown in your face, and people just ignore them. Now, that might be a bit controversial, considering that, like, it's not that obvious. It is, if you have a perceptive mind. Like, I thought this game was going to be like Bloodborne until I got to Genichiro. He started beating me up. I got my arm cut off, like, in the game. And then something clicked. That, when he cut off my arm, it's like he knocked sense into me, saying that this isn't Bloodborne, and you shouldn't treat it that way. One thing that I really just don't get with people, that I'm pretty sure is still apparent today, and I've probably said this like over 1,000 times, but I'm like too tired, so I can't even remember, that people treat Fromsoftware games like Dark Souls. Like, you know that meme where people will say, this is the Dark Souls of platforming, this is the Dark Souls of whatever. Literally, people do that with the own people that make the games. They do it with the own studio that make the games. They do it with every Fromsoftware game, when they should be treating Dark Souls like Dark Souls in every other Fromsoftware game, like how they're supposed to be. So, you play Dark Souls, you go to Bloodborne. Don't treat Bloodborne like Dark Souls, treat Bloodborne like Bloodborne. You play Bloodborne, you play Sekiro, don't treat Bloodborne. Don't treat Sekiro like Bloodborne, treat Sekiro like Sekiro. Anyway, enough of that. Probably just gonna skim through the reasons why I like it better than most of it, and I'll probably just end it. I kind of been rambling on about the complaints that a lot of people get and stuff, and I honestly did want to add a bit of entertainment here. So these two bosses should have been pretty good entertainment, especially how quickly I beat Guardian Ape. Like, I think that was a world record right there. But areas are much more designed, much more better. They're really pretty. It's Chinese or Japanese, and I really love that. I like the option of the options of voice dialogue, whether it be Japanese, English, or French. I like that. I actually have it on French right now because I love the French language. It's one of my favorite ones to listen to. But cool character models, really compelling characters. Like, a lot of people just think that Kuro just wants to die, but like, if you actually look at what he's trying to do, he's honestly fed up with being immortal all the time. And he just wants to let people be free of that. And it's really, really heartwarming for a kid to take his own life to save the sanity of millions upon millions of people. And that is fantastic. And I love that about Kuro. Sekiro, he's a loyal son of a bitch. Let's get that straight. But I just love his character. Simple, bland, but that's what makes Sekiro Sekiro. And finally, the bosses. Every single boss is fun and fantastic. Greatly designed, great to fight, and satisfying to defeat no matter how many times. Anyway, I'm done with that. So basically it's going to be the end of the video here. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like it, punch the like button in the face. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel. Also, I will be putting out another video on Sekiro where I go through the Immortal Challenge with a few extra twinks and wrinkles that I will not discuss until that video comes out. So be sure to look out for that. And see you guys in the next episode.